What's up guys, Icebreaker back. Today I'm on the dev build. I'm going to record for you a low to mid level players crab strategy video so that you guys can do better on Mega Crab. We're going to look at everything that you need to know if you want to do better at crab. We're going to look at statues, troops, different strategies and things like that, little tricks and hints and tips and stuff to help you smash out more levels of the Mega Crab to get those juicy rewards. If you are a high level player or max level player looking to do much better on Mega Crab, I have a video linked down below and up in the cards up here. I'll put a link to it there where you can see the same sort of video for a max level player or a higher level player, but this one today is for you lower level players. See, this account is a HQ 16. That means we only have 7 landing crafts, and for troops all we have is the usual rifles, heavies, bazookas, warriors, tanks, medics and grens. That's it. No bombardiers, no scorchers. Let's start off with some statue advice. Obviously we're going to preach the all offensive strategy every single time because it is, obviously the best strategy to use if you want to do better at Boom Beach. You want red and purple statues. I'm not going to get all preachy about it, but for today's video I've gone with 4 GBE, 3 troop damage and 1 troop health. Obviously this month's Mega Crab is the Chinese New Year one, which has the troop health boost anyway. So if you don't have a troop health statue, you might want to think about putting one down for, normal Mega Crabs, but you can get away with not having one for the Chinese New Year one. To have the count just tailored for playing crab, you'd only have 1 GBE and 5 troop damage, 1 troop health for this crab. To do better at Mega Crab, you got to look at it as each stage is a race against the clock. It's all about getting to that core and taking it down as fast as possible. The quickest way to get through the defenses and to that core and take it down is with more troop damage. Obviously the faster you destroy buildings, the more buildings you're going to destroy. You'll get to core sooner and get core down quicker. So lots of troop damage for that, but I've put some GBE on today to make this a little fairer. So that's what we're doing for statues. Obviously you can see they're boosted as well. Obviously you're going to be playing Mega Crab, you're going to be boosting, so you're going to be boosting up for that. For troops though, you'll see that I have got T-Med loaded, so tanks and medics is what I've gone with to start off with. I think a lot of players are probably going to be using tanks anyway for sort of the mid levels of the game. People who don't use the smoky strategies like warriors probably going to be using tanks, which is fine because tanks are pretty good for crab. It's, especially if you are running lots of troop damage, these tanks can be really good for crab. Obviously more troop damage the better when it comes to tanks. For a hero for this loadout, you can go with Sparky and Critters. You could also use the remote hack as well. If you use the remote hack, you could either use it before you'd start the attack and like maybe hack out a boom cannon or a shock launcher or something like that. Let Sparky die and then land your troops. Or like you can see here, I'm using Critter Swarm because I want that distraction from her critters for everything else so the tanks can live longer. You could also use Second Wind, bringing back tanks. You can also use the rifles that you get from Second Wind as a meat shield and distraction. Kind of like you see with Sparky and Critter Swarm. Those 3 rifles you get from Second Wind will do exactly the same thing, just be distraction for you while your tanks that do the damage. Personally, I think Critter Swarm is best, shortly followed by Second Wind and Ice Shield. The next loadout I want to look at is the classic Boom Beach loadout, Heavy Zooker. Obviously, have your heavies out front, your Zookers out behind, doing all the damage, heavies being your meat shield, looking after the ladies. For a hero, gone with Critter Swarm again. You can also use Second Wind really well here because obviously bringing back the heavies. The more heavies, the longer your heavies last, the more deeper you'll go into the base. So Second Wind is also a really good option here. Crystal Shield as well is also a good choice, and the remote hack again is pretty good. I always go with Critter Swarm if I was going to be doing this, or if you're confident with smoking, you can smoke the troops in and obviously use battle orders and clear a free snipe or whatever. If you've got that skill there already, you can do that. If you're going to free clear with them though, I would probably go with Critter Swarm or Second Wind as like my top 2. Up next we have got Rifles, Zooker, Medic or RZM. If you had the 8th boat, you could put a boat of Cryoneers in here if you had them unlocked as well, which will give you the RZCM. Obviously the medics are completely optional. If you think you can get away with it, lose the boat of medics and even put down more rifles or more Zookers. Obviously the Zookers give you more damage, so you'll get through the stage easier, but you do need distraction, so you can go, you can tailor this one a little bit like however you'll need to see fit. Hero, obviously going to be second wind, absolutely with this one. Keep reviving those troops into the battle over and over. Critter Swarm is also really effective for this. You've also got Battle Orders as well. If you could, you know, again with the smoky strategies, Battle Orders is also good. But yeah, definitely second wind or Critter Swarm 100%. If you have maybe already attacked a stage at some point, you've cleared a little free snipe and there's a little pocket next to a core where you can get in. You can go with all Zuka and Battle Orders just to finish taking down that core. Make sure you got maximum DPS to give you the best possibility of getting through that core on that attack and not wasting another hit. You can also smoke these guys in and clear the little free snipe. Obviously, I've got Battle Orders loaded with this one. You can also use Ice Shield, would also be really good for this. As they come out of smoke, pop that Ice Shield, give them a little bit of extra protection while they clear. Obviously, second wind is also really good for that. Critter Swarm again, as always. If you're going for core kills, though, if you're going straight for core rushes, obviously Battle Orders is the way to go. From time to time, there may be a case where one of these loadouts doesn't quite fit your needs perfectly, or maybe one of the landings is covered by lots of boom cannons. What you can do is there, instead of using up extra hits, change one of your boats to rifles or to heavies or something like that you can use as another layer of protection for your tanks, and then you can drop them first, drop the rifles first, and then the tanks in behind. So then the rifles then act as almost like critters would if you had critters, or if you were using Battle Orders or second wind, you wouldn't have Sparky's passive critters. So you can take a boat of rifles to use as that passive distraction to start off with. Then obviously if you're using second wind, you can revive those rifles, or just use those rifles just enough to get your tanks through those first few boom cannons off the landing, and then you can reflare and keep all the rest of your tanks nice and safe. Instead of landing all your troops and then all dying to the boom cannons on the beach, you can use, like I said, those rifles there, distraction and meat shield. This is also a really good strategy if there are Simmos in play, especially around the landing. Obviously, the way Simmos work is they target the troop that has the lowest health. So if you put mix a boat of rifles in, what'll happen is the Simmo will be distracted by the rifles until they're all gone, and then they'll probably target the medics if you take medics, and then whatever the lowest health tank is. But yeah, those rifles will just distract it for long enough that you don't have to waste GBE on shocks and things like that. You can just get landed, get it all cleared, and then, you know, crack on with the hit. It's also worth noting that for a lot of these stages, you may need to bar out a couple of rocket launchers, or you may need to, you know, clear some mines or something off the rip, and you'd find yourself being short of GBE. There's lots of little pockets on many stages where you can give yourself extra GBE with a positive GBE trade using Barrage. Like you can see here, you can pop all the little green cells to get a positive GBE trade. So you start off with whatever it is you start off with. You use one barrage. Obviously, you got to cover the cost of that barrage, but then you get a few extra GBE on top as well. Sometimes that can be the difference between having like the extra artillery or the extra shock to make the attack a solo instead of a 2-hit. Also, if you are in the situation where you have cleared your way to core, but you haven't used your barrage and you're low on GBE, you need another shock, have a quick look around the map, see if there's any way you can trade that barrage, that cheap barrage, for more than, you know, 10 GBE that the barrage costs. If you can get more than that back, chances are you'll be able to do that, and then that will give you the GBE you need for your shock. Again, can make the difference between a solo and a 2-hit. Obviously, you don't have any tribes at this level, so there's no need to think about any of that just yet. But once tribes and that do come into play, obviously they will factor in and help you pick your loadouts and things like that. When it comes to what troops you pick and when, if you're up against a stage that looks like this, that has lots of splash damage, lots of mortars, lots of rocket launchers, shock launchers, things like that, obviously, you know, Rifle Zuka Medic isn't going to be your best bet. You're going to want something that's got a bit more tankier health with a meat shield that can last longer in that situation. So tanks would be, you know, your go-to, or heavy Zuka maybe. However, but if you go up against a stage that looks like this, which is like mostly single point, lots of cannons, snipers, boom cannons, with not that many mortars and rocket launchers and lots of splash damage things, then obviously Rifle Zuka Medic and Critter Swarm or something like that is going to be much better here, because the rifles will distract while the Zukas do the damage, and because there's not much splash damage, your rifles are only going to die one at a time instead of, you know, 20 at a time to a mortar shell or to a rocket launcher. So Rifle Zuka Medic is super powerful against those stages that has lots of single point, so that's where you'd use that. For me, using heavy Zuka would be times for smoking into the core and then clearing a free snipe. But if you are free clearing, obviously you don't want to be putting your heavies up against lots of boom cannons and stuff, because they'll die really quick. So maybe a mix of butter rifles in there with them as well will help with that distraction, help keep your heavies alive just a little bit longer to get through it all. You know, you just got to think about what the stage looks like and what the best troops are to counter that specific stage, and then load those troops and then hit it, scout the next stage, see what troops will be best for that specific layout, load those troops, and so on. Obviously, instant training is a no-brainer here, unless you've got, like, you know, millions of diamonds or whatever. But yeah, instant training is obviously a no-brainer. Take your time to scout, think about it, pick your paths, which way has less defenses or less splash damage, which way can you go that's going to be quickest, which way going on the map is going to take out the most shield gens on the way, all of that sort of thing. Think about these things before you press that attack button. Load the right troops for that, plan it out, do the attack, and you should be sweet. Make sure you always boost those statues, guys. Make sure you smack that like button and subscribe for more Boom Reach tips and tricks. Code BBTFRG. I hope this has helped you out. If it has, let us know down below in the comments. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace.